Okay. All right. Well, I just posted Kyrie Irving trade. What am I talking about? I meant injury. Why am I posting trade? I'm legitimately ridiculous. All right. All right, there we go. Why am I talking about his injury? He didn't get injured. What am I doing? Okay. So let's get started. So I want to talk about if I think the Celtics are going to even be contending anymore, because I personally don't think they are. I think it's pretty much over for them. And it kind of sucks because they were looking pretty promising at the beginning of the year, obviously. But, I mean, they don't have Gordon Hayward. They don't have Kyrie anymore. I mean, even if they do have Gordon Hayward, it's he's still going to be super rusty. So I don't see them making this work, unfortunately. And, I think they'll come back next year. They don't have the pick anymore, so it's not like they're going to add another Jason Tatum. But they still have some good young pieces. They could make a trade, or they could, stand pat. They could sign somebody. I mean, I don't think they have a ton of cap space, but I mean, they have a ton of young guys. It should be a good situation next year, especially if LeBron leaves. I don't think LeBron's going to leave, but if he does, I think the Celtics should probably start thinking about next season at this point. They just don't, I mean, they have a lot of great pieces, and those guys are going to continue to develop, but I don't see them winning it this year. I don't even know if they're going to make it out of the first round. I guess it just depends. If they play the Heat, I mean, the Heat will probably knock them out. I don't see why the Heat would not knock them out. The Heat have had their number all season. I mean, I'm a Heat fan, so I've seen a bunch of the games, and I mean, Heat just have annihilated the Celtics a bunch of times. So, I mean, the Heat don't look like they're going to be getting the Celtics. They actually look like they're going to win the division. So the Celtics, as of right now, the Celtics would be getting either Milwaukee or the Wizards. So I think they could still maybe beat Milwaukee. I think the Wizards actually might. I don't know. It depends on how the Wizards are playing. The Wizards are a pretty talented team that seems to underperform. So I think they might be able to squeeze by Boston. The Heat would definitely get by them. So pretty much 1 through 5 is set in terms of 1 through 5. I mean, obviously the third seed is still up for. I mean, 3rd through 5 is still up for grabs, but everything below the 5th seed is still up for grabs as well. So we have no idea how that's going to play out yet. I mean, obviously, I'm hoping I'm kind of hoping the Heat get the 7th seed, because I'd rather play Boston than Philly at this point. Philly's on a 12-game win streak. I don't want to play that. Who wants to play against a team on a 12-game win streak? So yeah, I mean, Kyrie, this is what we expected from him. Unfortunately, he's always had injury problems. He had them even in the year, I think, was it the year they won the finals? I think he was out half that season, from what I remember. And then he came back and obviously was great in the playoffs, but he missed the one entire finals. Yeah, the year they won the finals. I mean, he was out like most of that year, and it's just he's been a constant injury risk. When he's on the court, he's great, but if you can't stay on the court, then it's hard to justify having you as the number 1 option, and that's basically what he is there. Gordon Hayward doesn't have really much of an injury history. Gordon Hayward just had a freak injury, so Hayward should be able to come back. I guess it just depends on him too. If like his injury was gruesome. I mean, I really hope he's able to come back. I know there's a lot of guys who have injuries like that, and they're never the same. Kind of like Sean Livingston, for example, is one of them. That was a shame with him. But so anyways, I want to take a look and see who might benefit from this injury announcement. I mean, we all sort of knew Kyrie was hurt. I didn't know he was out for the year. So I think it definitely helped Cleveland for sure. I mean, Boston definitely, Kyrie was having that grudge, and he definitely would have loved to get LeBron in the playoffs, and now that's not going to happen. I think Cleveland benefits from this. I don't think Toronto's for real. I mean, I still don't. They have to prove that they can, win against a really good team. They just haven't done that. I mean, they made it to the conference finals, but they got killed by the Celtics. Not the Celtics, the Cavs. So I don't think Toronto's for real at this point. They look okay, but they get to the playoffs and Kyle Lowry just becomes awful. So it's very random. He'll just he'll be in the regular season, he's good, and then they'll get to the playoffs and he'll start missing shots really, really often. DeMar DeRozan looks better this season, though. I don't know if this affects the Raptors very much. I think it helps I think it definitely helps the Cavs. It could help the Sixers. I don't know, though. I mean, I think so. It depends on who gets the third seed. It helps whoever gets the third seed, obviously, because whoever gets the fourth seed has to then go against the Raptors, who I don't think are contenders. But they're going to put up more of a fight than the Celtics without Kyrie. So, if Cleveland manages to get Boston, then I think it helps them in the finals, because I think Cleveland at this point is looking like the team that might make it to the finals. If Philly, gets Boston and Cleveland gets Toronto, that's a different story, because then Cleveland might actually have to go up against a team, actually a couple teams that are pretty decent. So, I mean, the East is so weak as it is. It's hard to even really consider this any sort of major effect on the league. I still think the Rockets are going to win the finals. I wrote an article about it. I think they're the best team in the league. I mean, you can still look at the Warriors and say their entire core is there, but the Rockets core has gotten better, and they're all there too, and they've been playing together all year, and they have so much firepower. And you look at their roster, it's just head to toe. It's just insane amounts of talent. And they're a complete team too. I mean, they have defense, they have shooters, they have inside players, they have everything. I mean, the Rockets are going to be really hard to deal with. I mean, who's going to deal with Clint Capella on the, who on the Warriors is going to be able to deal with Clint Capella? Clint Capella is going to just dominate the boards. I don't think people really take stuff like that into consideration as much as they should. I mean, you got PJ Tucker, who can really, really wear down Kevin Durant. Chris Paul's one of the best players, two-way players in the league at point guard, and he's going to be guarding Steph Curry. So that's it's going to be tough for Curry. It's just, I think people need to recognize that the Rockets are just not the same team that's going to lose in the playoffs yet again. I think that the Rockets should be considered the favorites at this point. I mean, the Warriors are always going to be that contending team, but yeah, it should be pretty interesting playoffs, especially in the West. The East is just going to be boring. We already know sort of what's going to happen now that the Celtics lost Kyrie. It's basically just going to be LeBron going through, and then we'll see him take on maybe Warriors or maybe the Rockets this time. So I want to talk about a few other things. I wrote an article today about some of the lottery teams, so I sort of want to talk about some of that stuff, because I think this is one of those seasons where there's just a ton of teams that just all stink equally, and it's kind of hilarious, actually. All of them are just equally awful, and it's not even like there's one that's way weaker than the others. It's just they're all just equally stinky. And so I actually have a writer I'm going to hop on in a second and help me out here. But I wrote about Phoenix today because I don't see them getting any better. I don't know if anyone disagrees with me if Phoenix is going to get better. I mean, how do they, explain to me how they get better exactly? Because Devin Booker's already putting up 24 points per game. He's not going to get much better, and they're still 20 and 59. That's why I wrote that he was a little overrated. Josh Jackson might get better on offense, but that's going to have minimal impact at most. TJ Warren's an injury risk. Alex Len is a bust. Dragan Bender looks like a bust at this point. I mean, I was hoping Bender would look better this season. I mean, he's improved a little bit, but not enough where it matters. And then Marquise Chris regressed, and apparently a lot of it has to do with either he's raw at the game or it's his attitude. I've heard a lot of stuff. I don't really know, but all I know is that he's regressed. And then Elfrid Payton is Elfrid Payton. We already sort of know what we're going to get from him. He's played okay. Actually, he's played worse since he joined the Suns. And then, we got Booker. Booker's, pretty much, their main guy at this point. And he's just, it's such a disappointment when he's your main guy. And I really like Booker, but I don't think he's what everyone thinks he is. And it's kind of sad to watch because everyone's getting excited about how he's going to lead the team. I mean, it's like Victor Oladipo is putting up similar numbers to Devin Booker, and Oladipo has that team in the playoffs. Want to know why that is? Because Oladipo has like defensive abilities, and it's not because of teammates. Because the Suns don't have the worst roster I've ever seen. Like T.J. Warren's not a bad player. He's not a good defender. Josh Jackson's a pretty decent defender. I think it's just the fact that the Suns players, when you put them all on the court together, they're just not very good. Like a lot of these guys seem to be, good on paper, and then you put them on the court together and they're just not, it's just not there. I don't see them getting any better. They're going to have, they have the Heat pick, but the Heat are making the playoffs. That's not even a lottery pick. I don't see them getting any better. And then I'm looking at the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are going to get worse. I mean, anyone disagree with me on that? I think they're going to get way worse. All that's going to happen is that why aren't they as good as a team? So they're not good as a team. They just, their team build is kind of bizarre, and they have a lot of young guys. And so it's usually sometimes good to have those types of veteran players. And they have maybe one or two, but it's a bunch of young guys who, a lot of them have been raw, and they don't really mesh very well. They don't really pass the ball very well. It seems like they're always, so one of the reasons that this happened in the first place is because of the whole basically point guard thing that happened about 4 years ago, where they went and signed, Isaiah Thomas and Eric Bledsoe, and they already had Goran Dragic, and then they traded those guys and got another point guard, and then they kept drafting like draft busts again and again. I mean, Alex Len was a draft bust, and obviously, T.J. Warren could not stay on the court for very long periods of time. He's become better, and then you got Marquise Chris draft bust, Dragan Bender draft bust. So it's they basically had this dynasty going, and then they did a series of bizarre moves, and now they're left with a very just incomplete roster. I think is probably the biggest issue. So they'll, I think you can't look at the Suns and be like, well, what do they need? What's going to take them to the next level? Like, I can't think of anything, because they could get a big. I don't see how that's going to help other than marginally. It's just what they have right now. I just don't see a path for them to win, and that's a shame. They just, their players are just, I don't really see what would fit. And you look at T.J. Warren, for example. I mean, he's playing pretty decent this year, but he's not great on defense. He's not a good shooter. It's almost as if he's sort of like Tobias Harris without the jump shot. Dragan Bender has minimally improved. They're giving him 24.8 minutes per game. Yeah, that's way too many to give Dragan Bender. And then, Alfred Payton, like, they don't have shooting. Their entire roster is filled with guys who can't shoot the ball. T.J. Warren can't shoot the ball. I mean, Josh Jackson can't shoot the ball. Alfred Payton can't shoot the ball. Dragan Bender can sort of shoot the ball, but it's not really his strength. I think, in honesty, his strength is passing. But so it's just it's a weird roster build, and I don't see how they have a path forward. I think they're gonna have to, and this is gonna sound weird, they're gonna have to trade somebody like Devin Booker or T.J. Warren, or they're gonna have to package some of their young guys for a veteran. I think that they could get a veteran, have it work, but again, hey Zach,
what's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. So I was. Do you have any opinions on the Suns and if they're going to get any better?
The Suns,
I don't think they are.
I think they got to make a GM change for sure. I think it's Ryan McDonough is the guy that's in there. It's actually Sean McDonough's brother. If anybody, he calls Monday Night Football, a lot of college basketball.
Yeah. You don't think they? I think that what they need is another point guard. That's probably what it is.
Yeah. Well, look, I think they really butchered the whole thing when they had Dragic, IT, and I guess Brandon Knight at the time.
Yeah. So they had Bledsoe, IT, and Dragic.
Bledsoe, IT, and Dragic.
And then they traded two of them and picked up Brandon Knight.
They traded him for Brandon Knight, basically.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I don't think they have enough point guards yet.
The Suns are an odd team in terms of, there's no reason for Tyson Chandler to be playing right now. Marquise Chris, whatever you think of him, they used a lottery pick on the guy. So he needs to be seeing the floor. I mean, I think the Suns have talent. I like Devin Booker a lot. I think Jackson's playing better than I thought he would. He started off really slow.
He's actually scoring the ball, too, which is kind of...
He looks good.
Yeah.
But outside of that, they don't have much. I like T.J. Warren as a scorer, but he's,
he also
points
can't
and nothing
shoot.
else. He's empty points. Yeah.
He can't shoot.
He's empty points.
So in one of my articles the other day, I talked about Booker and how I thought he's overrated. Like you look at somebody like Victor Oladipo, who has like basically identical stats, but their team is winning.
Right.
I think it could be a combination of coach and stuff, but it's not like Oladipo has the greatest roster either. So
No, but I
think
mean, he's
Oladipo
got a better roster than Phoenix. I mean,
sorta. I mean, TJ Warren's not like the worst player ever. I mean,
no, but they have. But think about it. They have veterans. They have Turner. They have Collison.
That's true. Yeah, I mean,
they have Thaddeus Young. They have
Oladipo is just a better defender, though. I mean,
Corey Joseph. I mean, Oladipo is a better all-around player than Devin Booker right now. Devin Booker is obviously the superior scorer. I mean, I think Devin Booker. I think he's got enough in his offensive game to score 30 a night if that's what he wanted to do. I don't know if it necessarily is going to make your team better, but no. I think he can score like that.
We saw Kobe do that for a season back when Kwame Brown was on that team. And
right. I mean, when you score 30, it doesn't usually translate to much. I mean, I think when Durant did it, they were really good. But, Wade did it on a bad Miami team.
That team was so bad. It really was.
Tracy McGrady. Trying to think of guys that scored 30. I mean, these are bad teams, too.
Allen Iverson did it like his entire career.
Right. But almost all bad teams. I mean, yes, they made the finals even with a bad team, but
but he carried them there on his 6 foot back. I mean,
right, and then they got up 1-0 in that finals, and then they were actually winning game 2 until overtime, and then they literally I don't think they led in the game after that.
Yeah. I mean, if they had swapped out Dikembe Mutombo for Ben Wallace, I bet they win that. Honestly,
I mean that Laker team was just that was back in the time when the Lakers got all the calls. I mean, like people say stars get calls. That whole Laker team got calls. You couldn't beat them at home.
They should have lost that the year that they should have lost to Sacramento? Yeah.
Sacramento, yeah.
That was so obvious. It's almost like I'm not one for a conspiracy theory or anything, but it's just obvious. I mean,
and I don't even know if it's a conspiracy as much as it's the Lakers got calls, whether they're told to give them calls or they just know, hey, give them call. You know what I mean? But it was so bad that Sacramento couldn't win that series with the way they were calling the game.
Yeah, it was no, I mean, so they basically called every single foul.
Yes.
Possible on the Kings and none on the Lakers. And I mean,
it was crazy.
You can't
Yeah, it was crazy.
So I mean, it's definitely like I think I don't even remember what we were talking about, man. Honestly, like we just got off track.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker, right? We were talking about scoring.
Suns,
putting up a bunch. I mean, but Iverson was also a good defender too. He was a really deceptively good defender. He's one of those guys that'll he's so short and he's irritating. I encounter those guys a lot when I play basketball because I'm tall. And I'd much rather guard somebody twice my size than somebody half my size.
A guy like that, a guy like Allen Iverson. I hope you're never guarding Allen Iverson, but a guy like that is a pest. You know what I mean? That's what they are defensively. Yeah, of course you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to guard them, and you don't want them guarding you. So, no.
But so Booker's not Iverson in terms of defense.
No. Totally.
Do you think Booker's ever going to become a decent defender? Because I'm kind of concerned he won't. Yeah,
I don't think so. But I don't think a lot of guys ever.
So then what are because I mean TJ Warren is a better offensive player than Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson's obviously a better defensive player. Right. I mean, it's easier to get better at offense than it is at defense in this league.
Right. I mean, I think Devin Booker is gonna be a better version of like McCollum. I mean, they're similar style players. I mean, neither one plays like a D. Devin Booker's gonna get you 4 or 5 times in that offense. He's not really a distributor, but he's good with the ball. I mean, Devin Booker's a knockdown shooter, but like I said, I think if he stays on that team and they keep going the way they're going and not winning, he's going to have a year where he puts up 28, 29 if he wants to. I don't know what that means, but I'd like to see a guy like Devin Booker on another team.
Yeah, I think with a good big, he might be decent.
I mean, even Devin Booker, and this is everyone's answer, name a player, then everybody says put them on the Cavs. What would the Cavs do? That's always the thing. Put them on the so-and-so's available.
Booker would thrive with LeBron.
You think the Cavs are interested? DeAndre Jordan's available. You think the Cavs are, it's always the Cavs. But I mean
I was listening to our live stream and you mentioned that LeBron's going to Philly or something, and I was just like,
everyone's saying, LeBron's going to Philly. I mean, it's just everything's about the Cavs. So the Cavs are the most interesting team to everyone to talk about, when in reality, they're not very interesting at all.
So, I mean, it's just so I was talking in the beginning about Kyrie Irving's injury. Do you think that this affects the playoffs at all? I think it actually kind of does a little bit.
I mean, I didn't see Boston winning.
No. But anyway, okay, but that's not why. Yeah, but that's not why. That's not why I think it affects it. I think it affects it because now you got to get that 3rd seed basically.
Oh well, you'd love to have a
You
second
have to
round
get the
matchup with
third seed. You
Boston
have
if you
to root
can.
for not the Miami Heat to get that 6th seed.
Yeah,
If you can get the 3rd, and the
I don't
Miami
want to
Heat
play.
get the 7th.
I don't want to play Philly in round 1, and I don't even think Philly's that good. But I don't want to play Philly in round 1, and I don't want to play Miami in round 1. I'll play Washington or Milwaukee any day.
Yeah,
but I'm not
so would
sure
I.
Boston will win that opening series. I don't think Boston's any better than Washington without Kyrie.
No,
I think they've shown that.
Yeah, so I think if I'm talking more about the second round, honestly.
Yeah, you don't want to get thrown
because
out in the second round.
I think Boston's obviously going to beat whoever's the 7th seed. Let's say Cleveland gets the 6th seed, and I think the Heat can beat Boston. But if the Heat get the 7th seed, I think the Heat can beat Boston.
I think Washington can beat them too.
So let's say for the sake of whatever that let's say Cleveland gets the 3rd seed and Miami gets the 6th seed. Well, we'll leave
it how it is. Yeah,
basically just similar to how it is. And then Cleveland has a tough series against Miami, right? And Toronto cruises.
Yeah, well, Toronto would 4-1, 4-2 Milwaukee.
But then, wait, Cleveland might have it easier in the second round because now they have to take on Boston.
Yeah, you're getting
Toronto,
Boston or Washington.
Yeah, you'd rather get whoever the second or whatever that seed is in the second round than you would a healthy Toronto team. Yeah.
Of course, I think as much as we think about it and everything that people are saying, and they do this every year. Is Cleveland going to lose on purpose to avoid so and so in the second round because then this, that, and the other, and everything is true in terms of this team's easier or a better matchup. LeBron doesn't care. You know what I mean? Cleveland doesn't care. They're just, to me, if you're not picking Cleveland to come out of the East, then you just don't, you don't understand.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you exist?
I mean, it's insulting. It's insulting to LeBron.
So there was a time when I thought that Cavs might not, and
we were all there. Everybody was there.
I saw the Heat just pummel them the other night, and it was just like when LeBron wasn't on the floor, they weren't very good, and then when LeBron was on the floor, they looked lost, and it's just again, I do worry about Cavs' consistency at this point. I do worry that there is no second guy.
They've shuffled so much in and out all year. Too many IT out, IT in, love out, love in, love out.
So do you know what LeBron had every year that he won the championship that he didn't seem to have when he didn't, which is another ball handler.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's the problem with this team, and I do worry about that because Wade was the ball handler.
Kyrie
and Kyrie Kyrie
even
went out.
Even on that Miami team, they had Chalmers
was
Norris Cole. They had guys that were at least handling the ball outside of him.
Yeah. So Chalmers was more of a catch and shoot.
It puts so much pressure on LeBron to not only have to make every play, but even getting the ball up the court. That's just a little extra energy exerted every time. So
we've seen in Houston this year what happins when you add another primary ball handler, which is
right, of course.
When the guys are unselfish, which is exactly what's going on over there, and so it's I think LeBron might struggle.
Have Chris Paul.
So
and they could have had Chris Paul. I think they could have traded. I mean, that deal was on the table. Kyrie straight up for Chris Paul, and they would have jumped all over it on both sides. But then once it got out that Paul had already decided he's going to Houston, and then Kyrie basically says, "I'm leaving." It kind of why would teams give up more than they have to, knowing you're going to trade him? I don't think they should trade him in the first place. But you're Kyrie Irving. Are you going to sit out the year? I don't believe that for 1 second that a guy who's about to get paid is going to sit out the year. No, he would have sucked it up and played.
Yeah, there's no way that would have.
But you see, the knee thing now was no joke. You know what I mean? Like everyone said, hey, he may need surgery in the offseason. He may need surgery. Well, now, he should have just had it done.
Yeah. So was it an option last offseason? I don't remember that part.
If you remember in the offseason when Kyrie allegedly demanded this trade, or however you want to word it, he said, if you don't trade me, I'm going to have knee surgery because I need it. And then they traded him to Boston. He didn't have the surgery. And then he obviously had this little cleanup that turned into, hey, the cleanup didn't work. So now you need another surgery. So
yeah, I don't know. That sounds I think pretty standard.
I would hope for just to say, and I'm not a huge Kyrie fan or whatever. I mean, I respect his game and everything, but just for the sake of having the best players in the league, you hope this isn't a chronic thing for him, because once you get the knee one time and then you get it a second time and then has to get drained, a lot of guys don't, you know what I mean? It ends your career in a way. So that would be sad, but I don't know. He'll probably be fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely ended Wade's career.
Yeah. I mean, he took so many hits and so many times to the floor, whatever, when he was younger that it just didn't, and his body didn't hold up. People got to remember, like, LeBron is a freak. LeBron is not normal. Guys are not literally not missing games 15, 16, 17 years into the league, playing 82 games,
it's
playing
like
in the Olympics.
him and like Karl Malone and John Stockton, and that's basically it.
Right. I mean, people don't realize the season starts in October now. It goes for LeBron until June every year. Then he's got USA basketball. He's got the Olympics. He's got, and then
he's got to stop doing that.
And he doesn't even have an off season. Even in the off season, he's working on his game every day. It's insane. Like the man he doesn't stop.
There's no days off.
No, it's insane, really.
I think he needs to stop doing the Olympics thing. He needs to stop doing Team USA.
He's probably done. I mean, maybe he'll do a FIBA or something like that they do every 2, but I don't think he plays on the Olympic team again. He's too old. Like,
yeah, I mean, if he wants to, extend his career playing during the summer, he should just stick to working out during the summer and, just not risk his body taking, more beating.
We should just go back to we should just play our best college, like whatever you want to call it, our best 22 and under non-NBA, because that's what we used to do and we still won. And it's just, whether we win or not, these NBA guys don't want to play in it. It takes so much.
Ever since the Dream Team, though, they've been trying to recreate that sort of magic. It didn't used to be like that before.
When they lost, which I guess was it
04? 04, yeah.
Yeah.
Who did they lose to?
They didn't even, I think they got the bronze. Yeah, they were the bronze. They didn't even make the title game. I think they lost to Ginobili. Or something, I think.
Baby.
But ever since that happened, they just decided, hey, we're getting our best 12 or whatever you want to call it, and we're just going to run through the whole thing every year. You know what I mean? We're not
this is a really weird roster. This is not a good roster. All right, let me read this roster that lost the
04. That was Darren Williams, I think.
Yeah, so I don't see Darren Williams on here, but
he wasn't on there.
No, it's not.
He was only 08. He was only 08. Okay.
So Allen Iverson and Stephon Marbury, so nobody else gets the ball. Nobody else gets the ball.
This was a bad.
Dwayne Wade was a good one. Carlos Boozer. So here we go. We got a run of defenders here. Carlos Boozer and Carmelo Anthony. We got them. LeBron James, obviously. Why would LeBron not be on it? We got Emeka Okafor, who, like I said, randomly appeared on a box score. Sean Marion. Sean Marion was good at the time. Sean Marion and Stoudemire are both there. Tim Duncan was the captain, and then we've got Lamar Odom.
This is not good.
I'm not gonna make a joke there. And then Richard Jefferson.
I actually like Lamar Odom.
I did too. He was
very unique game.
Yeah, he was great, but he was actually on the Heat for a year, and he's pretty good.
He was good. I mean, then his career ended for more reasons than one. But hey, look, he's alive. Okay, Lamar's alive.
Yeah, so he seems like an okay guy too. Yeah. And then Richard Jefferson, who is still playing with LeBron, like in his 40s, who was also on this roster. This roster is bad.
Compare that to now.
I don't know if this team wins. I don't know if this team wins a championship in the NBA.
Right. I mean, think about now. I mean, you got LeBron, Harden, Westbrook, Curry, Durant, AD, whoever you want. We have so many guys we can't even take them all.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why Shaq wasn't on this roster. You ever see Shaq complain about not being on the Dream Team? That gets pretty funny.
I mean, Shaq is such a unique. I mean, he's a unique guy, but such a unique player. Like he probably took more defensive fouls that weren't called and initiated more offensive fouls that weren't called than anybody. How do you officiate him?
Yeah, so he probably he got away with probably like so many defensive fouls because it's hard for him to guard somebody without fouling them because he's just so much bigger.
Yeah, I mean, he was he was legitimately about 7 foot 300, but could move.
Yeah.
I mean,
so he was 7'1", like 350 in his prime, and he could like break.
Stupid. I mean, it didn't even make sense.
That's not a thing. He could break dance.
So the dude was a freak.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm surprised his career lasted as long as it did. Like,
right. They had knees.
20 years.
Right.
Like you look at Yao Ming. I guess Yao was taller, but
Yao had the foot problems, and he was a giant. You're not meant to live at that height.
And then we've got Greg, one leg shorter than the other. Odin.
Yeah, Greg Oden was so good too.
He was good, but again, what do you expect when you have one leg shorter than the other?
Yeah, that was that was sad. Like, and then his whole life got messed up. Alcoholic, all this stuff. I think he's back at Ohio State or something. I think, but
is he?
I mean, he was taking classes. I don't know what he's doing now. He made his money, so if he's smart, he can do whatever he wants.
It's a shame, but at the same time, what do you expect when you have one leg shorter than the other and you're 7 feet?
Right. I mean, so he was bound to have problems.
Yeah. So, I'm just surprised Shaq's career. Like he was crazy and stuff, but I mean, even so, you look at his counterpart, who wasn't nearly as bulky and probably in much better like physical shape, who was Alonzo Mourning, who came out of the same year. Mourning didn't, I guess Mourning had like the liver thing or whatever.
Yeah, he like almost
Never
died.
mind.
Literally.
Forget that example. That was a bad example.
No, but he had injury problems too. I mean, Shaq was a freak. Like,
yeah,
Shaq was a freak.
Yeah,
he is a freak. Look at the man. Like,
so Karl Malone was kind of similar, but Karl Malone did it because of hard work. I mean, Karl Malone just put in the hours.
I think Karl Malone beyond. Huh? I think Karl Malone's beyond underrated as far as like all time. Like when people think like, oh, I'm going to do my top 5 or I'm going to do my top whatever at every position. And I think Duncan was great. He obviously has the rings. He has Popovich. He has whatever. But when Malone was around, and they had to play Jordan every year basically, and it was just like, and they didn't get any calls, and they didn't. You know what I mean? Karl Malone was a better scorer than Duncan. That's not debatable. I mean, he wasn't the defender, but he was a better offensive player.
So Karl Malone and John Stockton together were impossible to deal with. I mean, that was probably the best big little duo, of that era.
Right. I mean, and they could have won multiple titles. I don't think just everybody's always, you didn't win a ring. I mean, come on, like Chris Paul didn't win a ring. That means he wasn't a great point guard. Like, it's just not true. So
yeah, Stockton was. It's a good debate between Stockton and Chris Paul. I think they're very similar players. They're both
both below the rim.
Yeah, both beasts on defense, below the rim, can shoot the ball, and can initiate the offense and make good decisions, low turnover rates.
I mean, he obviously played with Malone. Paul never played with anyone at that level. He did play with Griffin for a while. David West was good. But I mean, Paul's the same thing. They're both just, they got the ball on a string. Do what they want with it. So
yeah. So Stockton's assist to turnover ratio was 10.5 to 2.8. I think Paul has one that's even better.
I think Paul for his career now is like
best one in the history of the league or something. I
think now he's like 9.9 to 2.3, 2.9.
Yeah, it's 9.8 to 2.5. Jeez, that's nuts. That just doesn't happen a lot. I mean, he's just been great for so long.
Yep.
And he's one of those guys that because he sort of plays below the rim, he can last for a while too. And
he very may well get that ring this year. So
I think they're the best team in the league. What do you think? Do you think they should be?
Yeah, I mean, they're the favorite for me. I mean, it's a coin flip. It's 51-49. Who knows if Golden State's going to be healthy? I think the home court was key. I don't think the home court matters much for Golden State, but for Houston, if they take the first 2 at home, they split in Oracle. It's 2-1, and you have the advantage. If they had to go the other way, and they split, they split in Oracle if they're lucky. If they don't, they're down 2-0. It's done. So I think the home court is huge. I think they have to win the first 2 at home because they're going to play Golden State. That's what's going to happen. I don't see any way Golden State loses before they get there.
Probably not. I mean, so I think I think that this is definitely just a 2-team race.
Right.
And I don't see how either one of them are going to lose to anybody.
No, I mean, if the Spurs,
I think Portland's going to be the hardest out of the rest of the teams, obviously. By the way, your Nuggets are still not in their race.
They haven't had a chance to pass. I mean, they won, then they were off, and then New Orleans won, so it's still one game. But remember,
they got 4 days to catch. They
got a huge game tonight. Nuggets, Minnesota. So if the Nuggets win, Minnesota and Denver will have identical records and be tied for the 8. So
who is the tiebreaker on?
I don't know.
Who is it? Because there's like a bunch of teams here that have.
There's a bunch.
Records.
I mean, Minnesota, New Orleans, and Denver, and OKC are all right there. I mean, OKC's a half game up on those teams, so they're just as much. And San Antonio, it's insane. Technically, San Antonio could fall out. They won't, but they could. I know New Orleans.
That would be something. That would be something if San Antonio.
New Orleans has a cake game. I guess I think New Orleans just had.
I'll just
had Phoenix. Whoever they just had, they had a really, really, really bad team that they just beat up on. Oh no, they beat up on the Grizzlies. So they just beat up on the Grizzlies, and I think they have Phoenix next.
So the Rockets are pummeling the Blazers right now.
Yeah, no Lillard.
As for the Clippers, that's a pretty interesting game. The Nets are beating the Bucks, Wolves and Nuggets tonight.
Yeah.
And the Cavs are beating the Wizards, which if the Cavs beat the Wizards, that's probably he'd probably have the division because he'd already a game up. Or not a game up, like a half game up. Yeah.
They have the tiebreaker too, so they should be good.
Yeah. So that's kind of
But the Cavs,
does that mean that they're good though? I mean, I don't
they're not locked, but they're basically locked.
I'd rather
look at the schedule.
I'd rather play Boston in the first round than I would Philly or Cleveland.
Of course. I
don't know if that though. But so yeah,
Cleveland
and then
needs to win every game.
Pacers are pounding the Warriors right now as well.
Cleveland's got to win every game. Philly's 13 in a row, I think.
Yeah, so, I think it's 12 right now, and it's just ugh.
Right. So Cleveland's like we've won 9 of 10, and it means nothing. We haven't gained.
Yeah. So Cleveland plays Philly tomorrow, and the Celtics have the Bulls, so that's a win for them.
It should be.
Pacers and Raptors. That's a good game.
If the Raptors,
here we go. This is going to decide the entire season right here. We've got the 25-54 Sacramento Kings going head to head in Memphis against the 21-57 Grizzlies. The Battle of Titans.
Yeah, I would take Sacramento.
I would just take a nap.
My God, it's so bad. It's so bad. And people
we've got the Pelicans have the Suns.
You'd have to pay me to go.
Huh?
You have to pay me to go to that game.
Oh no, I would. Yeah, I could.
I'm serious.
Money, I could get in the game and make it more interesting.
At least it's something to watch.
So the T-Wolves play the Lakers. That's not an easy out. I mean, the Lakers have been playing pretty well, and
Minnesota. That's what I'm saying. If Denver beats Minnesota tonight, Minnesota has a decent chance to be.
Yeah, done. Denver also. So then they go against the Clippers on Saturday.
Another huge game for them.
Yeah, and then
Denver doesn't have an easy schedule, but no one does except New Orleans is pretty cake.
No, it's not. New Orleans has the Warriors on Saturday.
No, I mean I'm saying the last two. Like I said, they just played Memphis, and then who do they have next?
They have I forget who I just said they had. Oh, they have the Lakers. That's what I said, I believe. No, they have the Suns. They have the Suns.
That's what I'm saying. I knew that's what I'm saying. They had Memphis and the Suns back to back, 2 worst teams in the league, basically. So that's a free couple wins for them, which they need. I just wouldn't. If I'm the Rockets,
I think we have another writer coming in here.
Okay.
His name's Kieran. He hasn't posted an article yet, but I know he's working on one right now. So anyways. Yeah, so, and then I'm just going to keep looking at the schedule here. I was going to mention that we had a battle of 2 insanely amazing teams. The 25-53 Brooklyn Nets are going to Chicago, the Windy City, to take on the 27-51 Chicago Bulls. You know what pisses me off a little bit? And I'm trying to keep this family friendly and stuff. The Bulls have a good enough roster to compete this year.
You mean if they played it? I mean,
if they actually tried, I think they could compete for a playoff spot. I really do think they have talented young guys that can do that.
I don't know about a playoff spot. I mean,
really?
Look at the records.
Like Zach LaVine, if they had tried to use him.
Well, I don't think they could play. I mean, he's coming off that 20 ACL. He came back in.
Maybe I'm just.
I think the Bulls are healthy next year, and they add a piece. Maybe if you have LaVine, Dunn, Markkanen, you add a piece.
Markkanen's really nice. I really like that.
Valentine played well when he played. Now he's out for the year. He just got a knee cleanup or something.
I don't really know much about him, but from what I've seen, he's not a very good player.
He was huge in college, player of the year and everything.
So was Adam Morrison.
A little different. Adam Morrison is a joke. Actually, he was co-player of the year with Redick, another guy that people thought was gonna be terrible. Redick.
Everybody writes off those shooters, and then they learn how to adapt and stuff.
Yeah, Redick had to learn.
Valentine was like a LeBron type numbers in college.
Yeah, he was one of those 18, 6, and 5 type of guy.
Yeah, but he was so he put up 19.2, 7.5, and 7.8.
Yeah, he was awesome his last year. He's just thing is he's not athletic enough to play the way he played at Michigan State. So he's learning. I mean, he's played well the last few weeks, and that's like a fantasy thing. You pay attention to the Bulls and whatever, but I don't know. I think the Nets have good young talent too. The Nets have to handle it right.
I was listening to I think it was Frank Isola in the morning. You ever listen to him on he was I think it was his show where they were talking about it's like you shouldn't sit Robin Lopez because everyone wants to see their favorite player, and it maybe it had been a caller on something like that, and I think the guy called him Brooke Lopez. And it's just like my first thought was, whose favorite player is Robin Lopez?
Yeah, he's
and where do I find this person and convince them to
yeah,
stop?
Maybe his mother. Like,
yeah,
I mean, Robin Lopez is first of all so boring. Like, he has a little baby hook, and that's about it. I mean, he has nice hair.
Yeah, I mean, his hair is like even like repetitive. He hasn't changed it in years.
Yeah, Brooke is
He's
actually
like playing it
decent,
safe. Yeah. Brooke Lopez used to be a really, really nice player.
I mean, whenever he plays, whenever LA gives him the minutes, it's just he doesn't fit with their team because he can't run.
Yeah, so he's just like a solid center. But again, if you're going to see a Bulls game for Brooklyn for Rob, I messed it up. Robin Lopez.
You can't even think about Robin Lopez.
Yeah, it's not even like important enough to
Right.
So like
Who
if
cares
you're
about Robin Lopez, no one.
So, but I think Markkanen's going to be a really nice player. Everyone compares Porzingis to Nowitzki. Markkanen is way closer to Nowitzki than Porzingis.
Yeah,
Nowitzki is just a pure shooter and scorer almost. Like, I mean, he's a scorer with a jump shot. That's basically what Markkanen is.
Yeah, I like Markkanen. He's soft, but he's gotten more physical as the years gone on.
Yeah, so I don't like that word soft. It depends, I guess. Like it's just that
For example,
what's his role?
I don't think Porzingis is soft. Porzingis tries to get in there. He's just so frail and so slight a build that he struggles to box out. I think he tries to box out. I think Markkanen at the beginning of the year was pretty soft. And as the year went on, you see him, he's dunking on guys, he's mixing it up in there. They got to learn confidence. I mean, he's 19 years old from Finland. Like, he's going to take some time to get adjusted to play in the NBA. But I saw him. I mean, he was marking LeBron. Like, whatever, fuck it. Like,
I got you. Yeah, that's So I mean, again, I think Chris Dunn. I like the fact that he took a step forward on offense as well, which was nice. But
that's another guy that was written off.
Oh,
they threw him in for nothing. I mean, he's older, so people would look at him like, oh, he's just a rookie. But he didn't come out of Providence till he was 23.
I know, but Josh Richardson was the same way.
Right. So. I mean, you can't write off a guy like Chris Dunn. He was already a plus defender, plus athlete, couldn't shoot a lick. But now he's learning, you know what I mean? You can learn how to shoot. Anybody can learn how to shoot.
Yeah, let me send him the link through actually email. Probably be just the easier thing to do. You can like talk about like stuff if you want.
I got you. Hold on. Look at this. Yeah, anyway. I don't know. I feel like everybody's getting, everybody's only talking about what's going on with, the Warriors and the Rockets. But if you're somebody that really likes basketball, I mean, the playoffs should be really good. The matchups are going to be really good, especially in the Western Conference first round will actually be interesting. I mean, a couple years ago, you'd have even the 3-6 game, you pretty much know what's going to happen. But this year, I mean, you look at Portland, you look at San Antonio, you look at the Pelicans, Denver, whoever makes it, all those teams.
There's not as much riffraff, basically.
All those teams are equal. So every playoff series off the early should be good.
What's up, my dude?
Nothing much. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
What's up,
Pretty
man?
good. We're talking about upcoming playoff stuff.
Hey, go Sixers! I like
Go
that.
Sixers!
I can see that.
Geez, we got a Philly fan.
Hey.
I can see that.
But nice to meet you. By the way,
nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I hope that article is you're going to convince me to change my mind on that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about myself whether Harden or LeBron's the better MVP candidate. They both have good arguments.
Yeah, do you want to talk about what you might have found so far?
We can talk about that for a little bit. Like the two biggest stats that to really determine value, not just who's like a good player and scores a lot every night, but who's actually being valuable to their team, is like value over replacement player and box plus minus. And LeBron and Harden are 1-2 in both those categories. They're just flipped in both of them. So it's just
So I think I looked that up, and I think LeBron has him in just wins over replacement, and Harden's ahead of him and everything else.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's more of a question of what you think is better. LeBron taking the Cavs from like a below-average team to a solid team, at least in the regular season, or Harden taking the Rockets from a good team to a great team. It's just a matter of preference.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Harden is also has help now, and so that's why they're so good. But
Yeah.
Harden's done it by himself for a while, you know.
I mean,
Yes.
if you think about it, I mean, Harden's taking a 54 win Rocket team to a 65 win Rocket team, but it's really just Chris Paul. Like Harden's had a great year. I think he's been this is the best year he's probably ever had. But he wasn't any better this year than he was last year. It's just you add a top 10 player in the league, and then LeBron loses Irving and adds no one. Because the idea was they're adding IT. Well, where's IT? You know what I mean?
I mean, Harden's
the Cavs
turnovers.
roster is
Harden's
They didn't really
turnovers
add
are
IT.
down. His scoring's up in lower minutes. He's shooting higher percentages across the board and everything. I mean, his numbers are better this year than they were last year. I mean, he has more steals, less fouls. Everything looks better this year than it did last year, except for his just raw numbers. But I don't really look at raw numbers all much. So,
well, I mean, I don't know. It's you can look at it however you want, but if anybody that watches the Rockets, you see what Chris Paul does on the floor for him. They can't just double. They can't just trap out of that pick and roll, because if they do, when they're both on the floor, that's a nightmare. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But there's always a case for LeBron too, and I think that
LeBron should have a few more MVPs than he has. That's what bothers me.
It depends. Which ones do you want to give him?
Like 5 of the last 5. That's
really?
And I'm not even like that. I actually really don't like LeBron that much, like as a guy.
Like
as his game. I mean, it speaks for itself.
Yeah. So, like Steph Curry, for example, I think that when he scored 30 points per game and broke his own record for 3-pointers, in the 73-9, I think you got to give it to Steph Curry that year. The year before, there was a case for LeBron, maybe.
I think the first one that Curry got, Harden should have gotten.
I think just anybody but Westbrook last year should have won it. I don't get how Westbrook got that. I mean, he was the first. Again, the triple double is an arbitrary number.
But it's not just the triple double. It was the way he did it. Like
it was the 6th seed that he took his team to, and the
that team was garbage. I mean, we could talk about Cantor and Steven Adams and Oladipo. And now Oladipo looks good and whatever.
Oladipo looks good because he's not on the Magic. And then with Russell Westbrook, have you ever seen the Magic offense get broken down? You should try a B-ball breakdown. It's a channel on YouTube that I've been watching for years. The guy broke down how bad the Magic offense is, and just how just the way it's drawn up is absolutely garbage. If you look at that and then look at him playing with Russ, it explains why it's taken him this long to break out. Like he finally has a coach and like an offense that works for him.
Yeah,
but
no, I mean,
the Magic themselves.
I like Nate McMillan. I like Nate McMillan.
Oh, I've always.
I mean, they but the Magic also don't have any talent. Like I wouldn't necessarily say I like their sets, but
they're like the Eastern Conference Suns.
DJ Augustine, what
do I think of? By the way, Doug McDermott's career renaissance. What do we think of that?
Doug McDermott's. I love Doug McDermott.
He's
call it a renaissance.
Yeah, so we got a question chat about that. He's in Dallas. Oh, he's actually shooting the ball kind of well. Oh my goodness, he's putting up Kyle Korver numbers. That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I do think I would average like 10.5 on Dallas right now.
Really?
42% from 3, probably. That's just me though.
Yeah. Geez, his college. I had no idea. Dougie Buckets.
Player of the year,
Buckets
dude.
was in a. Yeah, those are some numbers.
That's why he went where he went.
Yeah. It's Jimmer Fredette level stuff. I actually did think he was going to be pretty good early in his career. I mean, he looked like he was becoming a pretty decent shooter, and maybe he sort of played sort of like what Gordon Hayward did. And then I realized that they were just that was basically
McDermott or Hayward. I mean, McDermott or Fredette.
The McDermott. Fredette was always awful. McDermott actually took
McDermott was in college, scored at least 60% of his points on the block.
So Fredette never improved, and
he doesn't play on the block. I think Fredette could be a NBA backup shooting guard right now. I mean, he got a bunch of offers.
He just wants to be a star, and that's why he's over in Asia.
Score 52 in China and
that's he and Michael Beasley, are the two guys over there that do that.
I don't even want to talk about Michael Beasley. I love Michael Beasley.
I do like Michael Beasley, but
the talent is undeniable. He just
doesn't care. He just wants to go have fun, and all respect to him for that. But don't do it on my heat. Go over to China.
He had a good year. He had a good year for Miami.
Yeah,
one of his best years. Like his second year, I guess. Before he went to Minnesota.
Nah, he wasn't that good, and he was okay.
He was never that good. He's not good at basketball.
He can score sort of inefficiently, but you put him against. He's one of those guys that he just wants to dominate everybody. It's like it's like your friend who only plays Call of Duty against like people that aren't online because he just wants to like beat all his friends. I don't know. Maybe I was the only one who had that friend, but it's like
Michael Beasley in college was, I mean, as good as you'll ever see.
As a freshman, he put up like 26 and 11.
I mean, he was as good as you'll ever see. And him and Durant would play 1-on-1 all the time. And I mean, even a few years in the league, and Beasley would cook him. Like, it's not a lack of talent.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. Yeah. I'm looking at his stats. His Hall of Fame probability is 0.0%. So
I could have done that.
I think we can solidly say he's not a future Hall of Famer.
No.
Groundbreaking research right there.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Send me that link.
He's putting up some decent efficiency on the Knicks this year.
Oh, he's been good.
Yeah.
He's played well.
That's kind of.
He's just a one-trick pony. Like.
Yeah.
With no
Same with
3-point
Canner
range.
though. It seems like the Knicks kind of got a bunch of those guys this year. Canner's an insane offensive player, but he basically may as well be like a tackling dummy on defense.
Canner's like a Zach Randolph.
Zach Randolph is at least decent at defense. Zach Randolph can sort of thump around.
Zach Randolph can't jump over a manila folder.
Yeah, but he can still thump around. I mean, again, he's held his own, and he's always had somebody like Marcus.
Oh, Zach Randolph was really good, but now
he might not be able to. But Enes Kanter is like the worst defender at center in the entire NBA, possibly.
He's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, he can't stay in front of it. How does he get it? See, I liked him as the sixth man there because he can come off the bench and just score a bunch of points. But you don't have to have him in there. Role. Yeah, because then he can do what Beasley does over in China, which is go and beat down the people that are not quite as good, like the second unit. But I got to stop with the Beasley jokes. I kind of feel bad for him.
He's actually a nice guy.
Yeah, I bet he is. I really bet he is.
I mean, he smokes a lot of weed, but he's a nice
guy.
Pretty
chill, at least.
He's very chill. He's probably the chillest.
He and Adam Morrison go high together.
Adam Morrison looks like he hasn't showered since actually ever. Like
I mean, he looks like he hasn't gotten a haircut.
I don't think he plays. Like, I don't think he's played in a long time.
You ever see those caveman Geico commercials? He's like that guy from that.
Dude, Adam Morrison has 2 rings.
What?
Yeah.
He has 2 rings, dude.
I thought you were for some reason. I at first thought I was like, is he making a joke about rings under his eyes because he hasn't slept? But then I realized that he won 2 with the Lakers.
He has 2 rings that are just as valuable as anyone else's.
Yeah, that's the argument. It's like, oh well, Russell Westbrook doesn't have a ring, and Adam Morrison. So it's just I don't know.
Different
There's
stuff.
a bunch of guys that the Heat had like that too when he went on their runs. Like Juwan Howard has a couple rings at age like 90.
James Jones has 6 rings.
Jeez. Wait, 6?
I thought he followed LeBron almost everywhere. He went from the Heat to the Cavs.
But the Heat only won 2, and the Cavs only won 1.
I say LeBron only has 3.
I mean, he went to 6 straight finals. That's what I meant to say. He won 3 rings then.
Yeah, he's definitely.
But that's 3 more than his talent level for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then
it's funny if you watch a guy like, and I don't think people realize this because you don't see it.
Both of your cameras, by the way, turned off.
They don't show it. Yeah, I was looking at something on my phone. Anyway, if you go to an NBA game and you watch the warm-ups, I mean, a guy like James Jones is hitting, 45 out of 53s. Like, you don't realize the skill level of a guy in the NBA that doesn't actually even get on the floor. It's like, yeah, James Jones blows, but compare him to whoever that you think is really good, and he's 1,000 times better. It's just you don't see that unless you see it in person.
Oh yeah, no, that's
when James Jones would come in the game. They're down or up, 15 with 2 minutes. He comes in and hits 2 threes every time. That's how good.
It's like kind of like you look at for example a baseball player who's not a fast pitcher. Like that's fast to everyone else. It's not fast to like Barry Bonds on steroids. So. I mean, it's the same. It's it's one level for the guys in the league.
Well, yeah, the best dude you ever played with at the Y couldn't play at UMBC, so it's
probably yeah. But it's I mean, James Jones still was a good shooter. I mean, he just didn't really play a heck of a lot of defense, and he didn't have handles. He couldn't rebounds, but he could shoot with the best of them, just catch and shoot. That's really
another nice guy.
For. Yeah, Mike Miller was
picking on
decent.
nice guys. Mike Miller also a very nice guy. Richard Jefferson,
Mike Miller nice guy? Is Richard Jefferson?
Yeah, I mean I know Richard Jefferson pretty well, not as well as I used to, but he's a nice guy.
Do you really know him?
No.
You're messing with me.
No, I was totally joking.
I figured. I was like, how do you know him?
Richard Jefferson's not even.
Out of all the players you could have known, why him?
That's not even a name drop. Like, if I said, "Hey, dude, I know Richard Jefferson," they would say, "And."
Yeah.
Like, he's an and. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's very nice.
What's he up to? Is he?
He's bald. I always thought he was gay, but he's married.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's how. That's Tim
Soft-spoken guy.
Tebow. I've always wondered with that.
What if Tim Tebow's gay? Definitely.
Is he? You think? I know his
decided.
girlfriend broke up with him because he wouldn't do anything.
Because he's gay.
Yeah.
You know who else is gay? I think Towns.
I don't know. I've never seen him interview.
You ever heard?
What is this like? What is this conversation?
I don't know, but Towns has an imaginary friend. That's all I'm saying.
Does he? Is it imaginary girlfriend like Manti Te'o?
No, like he calls him Carlito and he talks to him on the side. I'm not messing with you, dude. The dude is messed up.
That's really weird. Kevin Love. Yeah. So I actually realized I made an error in the last stream. I said that Kevin Love the high five thing. I think I read that in Sports Illustrated like 7 years ago. It wasn't ESPN, but they had this whole piece about how he was so insecure that like he would have a panic attack and a mental breakdown if a teammate didn't give him a high five in between the free throw. And like there was some, and then he saw some clip on like Shaq in a Fool or something, where it was like Kevin Love got rejected on like a high five or something on Shaq in a Fool. And it was just like it brought me back.
Kept him up at night with like a thing of Ben and Jerry's. Like, dude,
yeah. That's why he was able to keep on all that weight.
I think I like Fat Kevin Love better than Skinny Kevin Love, dude. Skinny Kevin Love.
Fat Kevin Love was a better, just more explosive player.
Rebound. The dude was a beast. Go back to Minnesota.
Yeah, it's like I saw an interview with Charles Barkley. I think it was with Graham Bensinger. He does good interviews. So he talked to Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley basically was really overweight. And then they found his playing weight, which was 250. But once he went under that, and he was working out with Moses Malone. But once he went under that, he was like, I don't feel explosive anymore. I think there's a certain point where when you find your playing weight, you sort of know. And I think Kevin Love's was probably around 260. Was I think when he was at his best, he was able to bang in the post and step out, shoot the three, and also, keep the rebounds going. But
he's too thin. He's too thin now. He knows that, but it is what it is.
It is.
Dude, Kevin Love, no homo, good looking.
So what's the hype like in Philly right now with all the sports going on?
I'm actually in school in Cleveland right now, but everybody's really excited. I've been on the process for a long time.
Really?
So it's really nice to see that pay off. See guys like Colin Cowherd have to face the music when the team actually does well. Stuff like that.
You don't like Colin Cowherd? Am I the only one who likes him?
I love Colin Cowherd.
I like him.
I don't. I thought we were all about to just rip on him because he doesn't know anything.
He's just very anti-Philly. I want to like him, but he just keeps going against the Sixers.
He's been pretty pro Eagles, I would say. He likes the Eagles.
I thought he was not very pro Eagles through the playoffs. He did like a video where he ranked the top 12 teams going into the playoffs, and he put the Eagles at 10.
Really? Well, maybe that was because Wentz was out. I mean,
but still, the disrespect is real.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you have the Vikings at? What do you have the Vikings at?
He had the Vikings at 1.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah.
That is a little bit because Foles isn't any better or worse than Keenum.
No.
So
and the Eagles' defense was comparable to the Vikings down the stretch last year.
That's that is kind of he's LeBron's also not LeBron. Cowherd is like all over LeBron.
He loves LeBron.
But I mean, that's reasonable. I mean, one of the things that I agree with Cowherd on is Westbrook, and I think Cowherd sort of made me feel less crazy when I would criticize
Westbrook.
But like he made me feel less crazy that like, okay, Westbrook is like great and everything, but what's with these low shooting percentages?
But I don't think he even really says that Westbrook's great. He does he might say he has great talent, but Westbrook's a great player. Like Westbrook's a cancer. We can talk all bad about him for an hour, and it would all be true. But we're talking about a top. Pick a number below 10 in the NBA, no doubt. So I mean, the dude is just so good.
I mean, I think he knows it more than any of us because.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
I just worry.
I don't want to play with Westbrook. I wouldn't want him on my team. But I mean,
wait, did somebody else just join?
My phone died, so I switched to my other account.
Okay. Do you have like a headset? Actually, I think we're gonna. I gotta get up for work in the morning, so I think we'll wrap this up.
All right.
Do you guys have any final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap it up?
I'm excited for the playoffs.
I am too, and it's a good chance that the Heat will probably play the Sixers. I mean, there's definitely a chance of that, and I'm a Heat fan.
Yeah. It's all about getting the 3 seed for the Sixers. It'd be very nice to play the Kyrie-less Cavs in the potential second round.
Yeah,
matchup.
the 3 seed is the reason that I wanted to talk about that in the stream, because I think that 3 seed is now really juicy.
Yeah, and the Sixers play the Cavs tomorrow, which is gonna work out to really.
Because I think honestly, with Kyrie, I'd rather play the Raptors. But without Kyrie, easily I'd rather play the Celtics. So that's interesting. And,
yeah. Minnesota,
Zach,
Denver. Minnesota, Denver,
Denver.
10:30. Check it out. TNT.
Is that tonight?
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, dude,
I will be in Dreamland, but I will.
You enjoy that. I will watch Jokic on endless dribble handoffs. We'll probably have about 24, 11.
Maybe someday you'll get the courage to ask him out.
Oh God, I would.
Yeah.
Actually, he's hideous, but he's awesome dude. Like,
is he? I don't know.
I'm not gay, but like I wouldn't go for a bald man. Anyway,
really? Okay.
The point is, I think Jokic is. Anyway, you underrate Jokic, so you can.
I don't underrate him. I was on board with him long before anyone else was, but
like
I think his skill set. He needs a second star. I don't think he can be the number one player on a championship team, but I think he can.
I mean, neither can Anthony Davis, but.
No, I think Anthony Davis can be the best player, but I think Anthony Davis does need like a star that complements him. I think Jokic probably needs somebody.
You can't do it alone. It just can't be done alone. Not in today's game. But Denver's gonna make the playoffs. So.
Yep. I mean, I
mark it.
We'll see.
Mark it down.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Mark it down. Denver.
Anyways, thank you all for watching. I know we got a few subscribers. Thank you all for subscribing. And we'll be back as late as next Tuesday. Maybe I'll do something over the weekend. And we're also going to maybe start recording a podcast as well to put on something like SoundCloud. And obviously go check out our website, www.DailyBasketballAnalysis.com. And, have a good night.
And let everybody know that we're going to be let them know, we'll be doing some football stuff. We'll get other stuff going.
Yeah, we got football coming as well.
The season rolls around and everything. So if you're not a basketball guy,
yeah,
check that out.
Baseball maybe coming as well. So should be
good.
Pretty cool. Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
Trust the process.
Have a good night.